hear me right? Perfect. Okay. Well, are you as excited as I am to have our Women in STEM Wednesdays today for mental health awareness? Nee, Priscila, Eduardo. Okay, can you drop in the comment where are you joining from? We would love to shout out wherever you're from and whatever. Oh, yes, pray for Gaza. Okay, and I'm also gonna type our sponsor, which is Papaya Tutor, which is my babies, my startup. So we reached out to Eduardo and STEMedia. So thank you, Eduardo, for letting us join from your platform and take over, because we want to raise awareness of minorities and we want to normalize and make STEM accessible and affordable to everyone. And that's what Papaya is all about. And that's why we want to dedicate Wednesdays to women and show how many amazing female engineers and females in STEM we have, to show representation, because representation makes it accessible. Okay, if we have Lillian and Eduardo.
Hi,
Hi, Lillian, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm excited.
Okay, so yes, me too. And I invited Eduardo. He's joined. Oh, perfect. Great.
Hi.
It seems like
Hi.
Instagram has worked on its bugs. And are
Yes.
you guys excited for Women in STEM Wednesday?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Every Wednesday. Every
I'm
Wednesday.
excited.
I'm happy that you are all here. It's pretty cool how you all making this happen. I learned so much. I'm doing my research on the topic of discussion, which is mental health, and today's gonna be about burnout, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So I've been doing research and I'm trying to get familiar with what's out there, and yeah, I'm hoping that people learn today. How are y'all?
Yeah. Um, I'm better. I've had a rough week, honestly, just dealing with the whole just being sick and stuff, but I'm feeling much better. So I'm just happy I could make it, honestly.
That's great. That's great. So Sandra, what do you want to tell us? Talk about our guest a little bit, and then talk about the topic that we're gonna discuss.
Yes. Yes. And well, first, I want to start by thanking Lillian here to volunteer to host and help us with running the show and representing STEM media. She's amazing. We're all a team here.
Yeah.
We're all trying to help each other not get to the topic of conversation, right? Burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so Lillian, did you want to introduce yourself real quick? Say, because I know that you've been in the show before, but just to refresh everyone's memory, um,
Yeah.
tell us
So,
a little bit about yourself.
okay. Hi, everyone. If you don't know my face, I've been here as a guest, and today I have the honor of being a host. I am a plastics engineer, and I'm originally from Ghana. I currently, create content, just trying to inspire to get more Black women in STEM, and to also just keep them in STEM, and not just get them in STEM, but actually keep them in STEM, and just keep inspiring, the world, and keep inspiring like women in general. So I'm just here to support the Women in STEM Wednesday team and talk about like a difficult topic that, to me at least, that I didn't even know of. And I love that it's Mental Health Awareness Month this month, and we get to, discuss really tough topics that people deal with, and as engineers in a high tension job, like we also end up dealing with. So yeah, that's just a bit about me.
Amazing. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. And okay, so we are gonna talk about our guests, and we actually had a call, and I wanted to ask them what they wanted to talk about, because we
Hmm.
want to put the spotlight and we want to make it about them. And they being mental health awareness month, we wanted to talk about burnout and how they can affect your mental health. And when are you pushing yourself? When do you even know what that means? And make
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
awareness of that. And me, as I'm representing Papaya, I believe that, like students shouldn't get to that point and you should ask for help. Hey, you don't want to use Papaya, use a friend, use a group session. There's definitely ways that you can study and figure out the ways that you can study that help you, not like
Hmm.
maybe studying by yourself. That's not for everybody. Like I know I'm better at studying at groups. So just figure out like what helps you and use that to achieve
Yeah.
success. What about
Hmm.
And
you, Eduardo? Yeah, go ahead.
okay. No, I just wanted to add to that because just for people to really understand the importance of like actually like using tutors when you're in college, especially engineering school, like that's how you get to that burnout point because you try to, like you try to stress yourself to do everything when you don't need to, pressure yourself all that time, to do all the work when you can actually get someone to take a bit of that pressure off. And that's where like Papaya Tutor comes in, providing you with people who can actually like provide that support for you regarding whatever class it is, whatever topic, final, exam. So definitely check out Papaya Tutor. Just wanted to say that.
Eduardo, you were a tutor.
Yes. Yeah, I was. I was a
Can you?
tutor
Oh,
and
okay.
mentor. Yeah, in college I was, and yeah, I remember acing my physics class, and yeah, tutors make a big difference. I was a tutor myself, so. And then one thing that you don't really talk about, Sandra, about Papaya is that you're actually helping people that are trying to become engineers or that are engineers in other countries. So you're
Yeah.
supporting engineers, right? So that are different
Yes.
parts and they're students and they're like us. So they're just trying to help.
Yes.
Um,
And I actually think I see my mentor in this call. So
Oh,
it's
that's so
gonna be
cool.
yeah, yeah. So I'm very excited. But yeah, so for example, engineers from Ghana, Lillian, right? if
mhm,
if like here tutoring is so expensive in US, it's $30, for basic.
Hmm.
It can be $80. We just taught a machine learning class yesterday, um, and it was only $16 an hour. And she said that our student said like this could be $80 an hour easy, right?
Wow.
mhm.
And that can be
Yeah.
really like taxing on you as a student. You're usually broke. So imagine if you can give $10 an hour to somebody in Ghana. That goes a long way. So what we're trying to do
Yeah.
with Papaya too is impact the global economy, giving the really smart people in other countries a way that they can make money and making it affordable for students here. So thank you, Eduardo, for bringing that up. And I
Yeah, you
want to
don't talk
ask,
about it much. I think people
I
need to
know
know
I
that.
need to. Thank you. And I
Yeah,
wanted to
no
ask
worries.
you about
Hmm.
burnout.
Hmm.
Because actually I'm hosting because you told me you're like, hey, like I'm actually feeling a little burnout, and I was like,
Hmm.
I was like, hey, I'm actually feeling good this week. I'm totally fine to host.
Hmm.
So tell us
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think it's not so much burnt out, on stress or anything. I guess I don't really know, right? I'm learning about it. So, and it had to do more. What I started noticing when I started noticing my performance in a project go down, right? Or
Mm.
not getting the ideas that I used to have, or like the fresh energy that I always had. So I started noticing just, like decline here of ideas too. So one thing that helped with that was my colleague, actually, my partner, Mike. He actually took over the project, right? And then, a a fresh brain came into this. The stress was kind of taken away from me a little bit, and I started feeling a lot better. So, the importance of the teamwork, right? Like being able
Yeah.
to handing off, uh, some of that stress is super important. And I was just experiencing it, the past few weeks, and everything is just scheduled, even Wednesdays here. Um, it's yeah, definitely you forget to have time for yourself.
Yeah. And
I actually go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, you're fine, Lillian. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback on that because I've also been feeling a bit of that the past 2 weeks, and I didn't realize it was burnout. That's kind of why I love that this is the topic of discussion because I we kind of forget that we can lean on people. We don't always have to do things on our own. And I think that's what always gets us to that point of burnout, like asking for time off. Like, you know, we work, and forget that you actually have PTO. You don't need to, like, you know, like wait to use PTO when you need it. That's why we're given PTO as working in the industry. And for me, I needed to literally like tell my friend that, listen, I'm getting to that point of burnout, and I don't even get any more creative. I don't, like, I just don't feel like doing anything. I don't have interest in anything else. And so I kind of need to take a break to get myself back together and get back on track. And I think that was very important for me to realize that and actually ask for the help at that point, rather than keep going and then who knows what point I would have gotten to, you know? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna add to add to both of you. I actually googled it because I was trying to prepare for the talk, and that's apparently the first stage, which is called the honeymoon stage, is where you're very excited about a project, and you know it's challenging, it is brain stimulating, and then you work so hard, and then your efficiency starts going down, and that's happened to me too, where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you start questioning your work. You're like, am I not smart
Mm-hmm.
anymore? What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you really are not recharging.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, I think that I'm probably the toughest person on myself, um, because I'm like, no, that's for the week. Sleep is for the week. I'm okay with sleeping 2 hours. Like I used to brag about that, but then I realized, like that it's so important to recharge. It's so important to have balance. And I'm still struggling to try to find balance, right? Like I try to work so hard, and you have a mission, and like so I have to sacrifice everything. It's also the meaning that you give to ideas, or the meaning that you put on anything that happens to you in your life. So if you think that you have to work and kill yourself to achieve something, that's how it's going to be. But if you think that, hey, like I can ask for help, and it doesn't have to be this dreadful, and it doesn't have to be this hard, I
Mm-hmm.
think it can work out that way too. But yeah, so that's called the honeymoon stage, is where you are very excited about a project, and then it gets like really intense, and you haven't taken a break, and your efficiency starts going down. You start feeling fatigue, and it even gives you like real like physical pain. You
Yeah.
feel like muscle soreness. Yeah, it's a real thing. I definitely felt it before too, so I'm very excited about the topic and getting into it. Eduardo, so do you want me to tell the audience about our lovely guest today, or do you want to do the honors, or Lillian? We can
I
do.
uh, I can let Lydian introduce them. I'll let you all um, take over from here. I know that you also are gonna get into the meme reviews, so people out there, stay tuned. The memes are coming, and yeah, just it's a good topic of discussion, and I want to thank you both for bringing awareness. And yeah, I'll be watching.
Thank you for giving us your
Thank you,
platform.
Eduardo.
Okay, I'll see
Yeah.
you all later.
Okay.
Okay,
See you.
Bye.
bye, Eduardo.
I can introduce the first one, Eva, and you can introduce
Okay,
the second person. Okay.
okay.
So our first guest is Eva Ruiz Alvarez. She's an advanced application engineer analyst at Accenture. And prior to working there, she's had the opportunity to work in robotics, software engineering, and bioinformatics projects through internships and research. Eva holds a computer science bachelor's degree and a minor in mathematics. And she has a strong passion for mentoring, which I love. She loves helping and empowering unrepresented communities in STEM to reach their goals and their fullest potential. So, welcome, Eva.
Yes, and Priscilla. Priscilla is a mechanical engineer. She just graduated, so
Oh,
congratulations.
yay!
I know, it's so
Congrats.
exciting. Yes, and she is a first generation student, Mexican American, and she is graduating from the University of Pacific in California. She's also done um, research at the San Francisco State University on magneto rheological dampers. Wow, she's gonna have to explain that. And a co-op at Abbott. So very excited to have them both. I am sending you a request. I'm so excited that we don't have many bugs like this time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I usually get them. So
Oh.
hi Priscilla.
Hi.
Hi,
Priscilla.
guys. Hey. I'm really excited to be here.
Welcome to Women in STEM Wednesdays.
Yay. I love Women in STEM Wednesdays. It's like the
I
best
know,
day of
it's
the
so
week.
amazing.
Happy
Hi,
birthday.
Eva.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you guys.
It's nice to meet you. I'm so happy
This
that
is
there
so
weren't any
beautiful.
bugs.
I
Me too.
know. Thank you, Instagram.
So
we
did
just
you?
gave,
Yeah, go ahead, Colleen.
I was gonna say we just gave like a brief intro to both of you. Do you guys want to add anything that you'd want everyone watching us to know about you that we forgot to add?
I'll let you go first, Eva.
Okay, I think I didn't mention it in my bio, but like Priscilla, I'm also a first generation college graduate. I'm Mexican, I'm an immigrant. I immigrated to the US during my early childhood. I've lived in Houston all my life, went to university here. Now I work at the Accenture office in Houston. I'm also very passionate not only about bringing awareness to STEM and also promoting minorities in STEM, but also social injustice issues. I'm also very passionate about that. Women's rights, women's reproductive health care, just any social injustice issue. I feel like in another life I could have been a lawyer, but that's also something that I'm very passionate
I love that. You can still do it. Listen.
Yeah.
And
What
very
about you?
similar to Eva as far as like where my heart's at. I definitely, have a passion for representing women in STEM. We're so underrepresented. And I remember when I first started my college career, I was just like, where are all the ladies at? Like, why can't I not see myself within my class? So having that representation is huge for me, which is one of the main reasons why I started my platform.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So I know that we want to do the meme reviews. So do you want me to pull them up, Lillian? Or do you want to take
Yeah.
turns on this? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So let me pull them up here.
So I don't know about you guys, but these memes got me through engineering school. So I just love that we have this segment where we can just just laugh at some of the things that we can relate to. And honestly, like, this is the biggest engineering memes account on Instagram, and I think he's been doing such amazing work, like from when I started college and now I'm working. So you can count how many years that is.
So how long have you been following him?
I think when I started college, so this was like 6 years ago.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Yep.
6 years ago, but like when I think I was in my sophomore year. No, junior maybe. What about you guys?
Same.
Eva?
I sorry. I started when I started college, which was like such a long time ago, and I remember I found it like just randomly, and I was like, I was like, oh my god, like finally there's memes out there that are like for me,
Yeah.
There was always memes for all the other majors, and I was just like, okay, they're funny, but like none of which I can relate to, until I found the page, and I was like, these are hilarious.
What about you, Eva?
Same. Well, I didn't realize about this page maybe until last year, but I didn't get onto like the engineering side of social media till last year, I think. But yeah, I've just been scrolling through that. I'm like, yep, relatable, and I just like die laughing.
Okay, so we'll go and show you some memes. My roommates kicked me out to the balcony to watch TV. So I'm like a real reporter here.
When you finally figure out why your code has that one bug.
That's for you, Eva.
I know. I chose that one because like that's happened to me. Like, so I remember specifically my sophomore year, I was taking data structures and I was coding this project that my professor had given us, and I had this bug and I just couldn't figure out what it was, and like I had to take a break. I had to step aside from like my computer And so I just went to bed, and then I literally woke up in the middle of the night. I guess my brain was still working. I was so stressed. I guess like subconsciously my brain was still working, and like I really relate to that.
You really? That was literally you.
Did you send me that, or am I like scrolling? Hold on, let me look.
I think it was just the first one.
Okay, this one.
When it's the weekend, but it doesn't matter because you're an engineer. You're fast. There's always work to do.
I know.
And coffee overload. Listen.
Yes, caffeine, and it's like I feel like that meme is so funny, but then whenever you actually think about it, it's like that's kind of sad.
It's
like,
sad.
and also, yeah, and it comes into play with like burnout and like mental health and mental well-being, because it's like you should still have, you know, a bit of your weekend to yourself, enjoy the things that you want to do. But I was like, yep, I relate to that one, and also like the caffeine.
Okay, so let me look at the other.
Me.
That's
Honestly,
I
I think that was me in senior year. I was like, I just want to pass. Let's move on.
That was me too. I feel like in my first intro to coding class, I mean, it also goes into play with like imposter syndrome. I had those feelings of like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Like, so I can relate to that one. But I think that's the kind of like the beauty of any STEM degree, that you're always going to keep on learning, and like you're always going to sometimes get that feeling of like, what am I doing? But like, there's always so many resources, and you can ask for help, how you were mentioning, Lillian. So
yeah. I love it.
Okay, so now let me jump into Priscilla's memes.
I like someone's comment that put caffeine and engineering.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
I cannot.
I relate to that one.
This was me, like, I want to say all of my last semester. I was like telling everyone like, oh my God, I have this and I have that to do, and like it's just crazy the amount of work they're giving us, like they want to kill us. And then I would look at my deadlines and like plan it out, like, okay, this day I'm gonna handle this, and I was like, oh, this is totally doable. I'm just like being a big baby about it. so relatable.
Or did you guys ever procrastinate?
Oh my God.
Story of my life.
Yes. I still struggle with that.
What do you do for a living? I'm a mechanical engineer. Why do people always say that? Why is that always the first question? Like, do you think it's from movies, or do they just make that up? Because
I
have
think
no
it has
idea.
the word mechanical in it.
I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
That's the same thing for computer science majors. It's like, oh, you're computer science. Can you fix my computer, or can you fix my printer? And it's like, no.
Or can you hack?
Yes, that one too.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, sorry, I know.
And I feel like, can you fix my refrigerator? If not, you know, what are you going to school for? Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so I sent you some questions, but I am just here to turn on the light. It is Lillian who's hosting. This is her first time.
Yeah, I'm a baby.
Yes.
I'm excited. Okay, so let's first start out this way. Since today we're talking about burnout, have you guys ever felt burnout? Like, and did you even know that's what it was called? You have.
Yeah. So I experienced.
No, like, I want to know.
We're both like, yep.
Yep.
It's all the memories. The war flashbacks.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I did experience burnout in college. I think that was the first time that I ever really experienced burnout. And I knew what the word burnout was. Like, I knew what it was, that it was like, you know, I'm kind of working too much and I'm not getting enough breaks, and it's just constant work. But what I didn't know was how the severity of the word burnout, kind of like what you were mentioning, Sandra, that, you know, it's not just constant work, that it also comes into play like physical symptoms, behavioral symptoms, emotional symptoms of like, you know, you're losing your motivation, you know, you kind of don't want to work anymore, or you're also maybe even showing signs of depression. So I didn't, that's the part of burnout that I didn't know.
Have you ever, like, with that, have you ever, like, questioned your self-worth? Like, you're like, maybe I'm not smart enough? Because sometimes, I mean, I used to, like, that used to be where my worth came from. Like it was like, oh, I'm smart, so that makes me a worthy person. And I learned after that that doesn't make you who you are. It's really what you carry in your heart, and and the mark that you want to live in this place. But like, did you ever feel like that? Especially being young too. Like when you're young, you're like figuring yourself out. So how you tell us more about that?
Yeah, and that's actually something that I struggled with a lot too, because, in high school, I was a straight A student. I got concepts really easily. Like, school was never a hard part for me. But whenever I got into college, you're taking college classes, it's very different from high school.
Are you okay?
Like, yeah, are you okay,
No,
Sandra?
my light almost went out because it's like really windy. So I'm like, oh shit. Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay, you're good?
Yes.
Okay,
Use
good.
the light.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, that whenever I transitioned into college, that is also something that I struggled with, Sandra, that I was like, I kind of also put in a little bit of my self-worth with my grades and like my intellect type of thing, but also that, whenever you're in college, the college classes are a lot harder. You're going to study differently. You're going to need a tutor, papaya tutor. But that's something that I also struggled with, like my self-worth. And I also even second guessed myself if this was the right, degree for me, because I wasn't picking concepts up as easily as I was in high school.
I wanted to touch on that real quick because when I went to Peru, like we recruit our tutors from the best engineering school in Peru, and they also win against like competitions worldwide. I think Hacker Rank, right? Eva, yeah. So they're always on like the number one Hacker Rank, winning against China, Russia, India, which is great, right? And these kids are known to be really smart. And when I got the tutors, I took them out to dinner, and they suffer from depression the first year because they had gotten their worth about how smart they are. That was like that's like their worth. Like, oh, like my worth is like I'm the smartest person in this room, right? So when they got to that university, everybody was as smart or better. So they got really depressed. And it's something that the school was dealing with. So that's why I was asking, it's like, oh, that makes sense. So, yeah, so.
But that's real though, like having their kind of like their self-worth being tied to their intelligence or their like their skills. That's kind of crazy. What about you, Priscilla?
I honestly want to say I go through burnout every semester of my undergraduate degree. I'm the type of person that I push. Like I go until I am like fully out of fuel. And I know that's not the best thing to do, and that's what led me to burnout. Did I know initially what it was? I just know I felt awful and I was just like overwhelmed. But I'm lucky enough that I have like a lot of people in my immediate circle that are psychology majors. So they were the ones that were quick to be like, you're burned out. Like you need to step back from it. And it was definitely a learning process. It was hard for me to step back because I was like, no, if I step back, that means I'm not good. Like I need to be that good student. So I don't want to step back and fall behind or any of that. So it was very difficult for me. But with time, you just learn how to deal with it. One of the things that I love to do personally is I take social media breaks, which is why sometimes you don't see me posting as frequently. Yeah, that is like a big one. I also, find out what it is that I'm getting burned out on. If it's like lack of concept, okay, I go to tutoring, like especially now that there's Papaya Tutor, there's like tons of things out there for you to just be able to grab and just like learn better. And then I also like to do self-care. That's like my number one, like I put on like a mask, put on a good movie, turn my phone off. And I'm just like, okay, we're going to chill. We're going to relax, whatever it is that makes you feel good, do it. Like time with family, any of that.
Yeah. I feel you on that though. And with the social media break, that's me right now. I haven't posted, I think, in like 6 days. And like, I just needed that for myself and for my mental sanity, because I start to put like a lot of pressure on myself. And I don't know, with you guys being like content creators as well, and also being in STEM, like, do you find that being a content creator also adds to, like, it creates an extra layer of burnout that you experience? And do you actually notice it in order to, like you just said, like, take social media breaks?
Yeah, for me, that has happened. And I actually just started working this past December. So I'm a new young professional.
Oh,
And
welcome.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, and like, so just transitioning into that new world from student to professional,
Yeah.
it kind of like, it took me a while to, learn the company, learn the project that I'm going to be doing, the new technologies, just capturing all of that in, absorbing all of that in. I did have to take some time off of social media because that just wasn't, I was going through, I guess, a little bit of a burnout that I was just so tired from, working, because after my working hours, then I would still continue working, doing more research, trying to absorb as much as I could. And kind of, how Priscilla was mentioning, like, whenever I'm learning something, I go full force, even if it means, kind of like how Sandra said as well, like, if I don't get sleep that night because I'm learning, then, that's what it takes. But something that I did was also take social media breaks, and then I also implemented the Pomodoro technique, and that has
Yes.
helped me a lot because that actually forces me to take breaks. So that's
What is
something that
that?
so it's a
I've never heard of
technique.
it.
Yeah, it's a technique for working. I forgot the guy or the person that invented it, but it's this method of working or studying or whatever it is that you're being productive at. You work for like 25 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. And then after those, 30 minutes, you take a 10-minute break. And then you go on
Okay.
and work for another 30 minutes or whatever your time interval works best for you. Because I mean, it's different for everyone, but that has helped me a lot.
Yeah. And Sandra, we can hear you.
We can't hear you, Sandra.
Sorry, I didn't know if it was
Yeah.
if it was too loud. Is it loud or no?
No.
No.
Oh, good, good, good. It's windy though, so like it's been very shaky here. No, I'm saying I was saying that I do the 45-15, and I even have tried to time myself. It's yeah, it's with everything. Like I think with notifications, text messages, even like
Mhm.
um the enterprise software that you use at work, like all of it, like and you don't have the time to concentrate.
Mhm.
So something that I learned is to quote unquote put myself in jail, meaning like I cut off distractions and then I can be productive. Because imagine like you're like answering emails, answering text messages, like attending to
Mhm.
everything, and then when you really need to be creative or really focus on something that, I mean, we're all engineers, so we have like really like they pay us to think pretty much.
Mhm.
And then that task takes you from like 15 minutes to an hour, then you also feel like, I don't know, I felt like a failure before. You're like, God, this should have, like, why is it taking me so long,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
yeah.
I the same way
mhm.
as Eva, I use the Pomodoro technique, and I think that's like the best technique that I learned,
Mhm.
especially my senior year of my undergrad. It's just so helpful. And I also, one thing that I recommend is putting things on hide alerts. Like if it's social media, hide
Mm.
alerts, because I would be like in the zone, and
I love
then
that.
yeah, something would pop up. Like I would just post something, right? And then it
Mhm.
would be like so and so like your post, and I'd be like, oh really? And I'd want to go check it. And I was like, no 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 no, like let's not get distracted. Let's focus on whatever my task is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hiding alerts and then having just like those whatever time techniques that you choose is so helpful.
So I
Mhm.
want us to bring it back to like just our engineering life, and like be it at work or school. Do you find that like your like work environment, or like what you're actually doing at work, kind of creates the opportunity for you to actually unplug when you feel like you're getting to that burnout stage? Or do you feel like you have to create those spaces for yourself? Because I can start. Like for me, I know there have been times at work where I just can't seem to focus, and like it's like I know what to do, I know how to like solve this problem or work on this project, but at this current point, like my mind is just racing. I'm tired. My mood is messed up. Like everything is just off, and so I need to unplug and recharge myself. Maybe go for a walk, get a cup of water, like go use the bathroom, like
Mhm.
go get Starbucks and come back. Like I
Mhm.
personally like make those opportunities for myself, because if I don't, I find myself just being stuck and then wasting 8 hours the whole day, still not being able to achieve it. So do you guys ever find yourself in situations like that, and like, do you create those opportunities for yourself?
So
Yeah.
I'm not a professional just yet, but when I
Yeah.
did my co-op, it
Hmm.
was when the pandemic happened. So we were at,
Mm.
home. So I feel like that added another level, and stepping away from your work was very difficult. So I made it a kind of more like just like a practice, so that during my lunch breaks, I would just go on a walk, like get out of the house, like leave your phone, like don't bring it with you, whatever it is, it can wait.
Yeah.
So doing those little things. I also saw that Eduardo said working out. I would go on bike rides. I'd be like, it's a quick little, kind of get your adrenaline going, kind of get that oxygen in your brain, so that when you come back, you kind of feel refreshed instead of just sitting at the same place for countless amount of hours. Like, I feel like it's very easy to get burned out that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that too because I mean, also when I started working, it was pandemic time. And, I've been working from my room in my desk like all day long for 8 hours. And, sometimes intensifies the feeling of burnout even more if you're stuck in the same spot as if you were in an office, for example, you could walk around, you could interact, be more social with people. But now, working from home, you can get those signs of burnout a lot more easier or, feel like you're not focusing. So I also do the same thing. I take my dog for a walk at least. I try to go outside at least like 3 times a day to get
Okay.
that break from just sitting or standing at my laptop, doing work, because I feel like if I just stay in the same spot in my room all day long, that just doesn't help at all. And that's actually something that I struggled with at first when I started working. I just didn't want to step away from my computer. I just wanted to keep on going at it. But then I was like, no, I'm not feeling okay. My brain is kind of, burnt out at the end of the day. My energy is drained. So being outside and being outdoors is something that has helped me a lot. And also
Yeah.
talking to my sister about how I'm feeling. Always
Oh
having someone
yeah.
that you can talk to.
Yeah. I was gonna ask that next. Like, do you find that it affects like your relationships with like friends and family when you find yourself in these spaces? Because for me, I think most of my close friends are able to tell when I'm going through a phase like that because they're like, okay, girl, you're being really distant. Like, are you good?
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
do we need to show up? Like, and
Yeah.
but then for other people, like it could be just you getting really distant from your family and friends, and if you're not lucky, that can end up messing up relationships. So I think just being aware of it, and I think that's one thing that 2020, or at least the pandemic, really taught us. I feel like it did shed a lot of light on mental health in general, and I love
Hmm.
that this is the topic for this month because I learned a lot about mental health, and I just wanted to ask you guys, like, what's one thing that I think your biggest takeaway with regards to mental health was from this pandemic?
So I kind of want to start off with what you said prior.
Hmm.
Yes, I think when I was burnt out, it definitely affected my relations, like with friends, family, everything, just because I was avoiding everyone. I would be so tired mentally that I would just want to sit, and I'd be like, don't talk to me. Like I need a break from my brain. Just like, I can't even have a conversation right now. So it
Yeah.
definitely played a role. And I think, the pandemic, it did kind of, shed some light on mental health, and in a positive way. I think it made you think like, hey, I'm not the only one that feels this way. It's okay to kind of have like your days when you're just not 100% you. And as long as you know and you have the resources to kind of get out of that funk, I think that's all that really matters in that.
What was I gonna say? I do like the first part of your question, and I wanted you to go more in depth, and then I take away from the pandemic. But yeah, Eva, what about the first part too?
Yeah, so something that I learned also that, everyone's kind of going through the exact same thing because we've all been kind of stuck at home. But I've also learned more about myself and how I do like self-care to take care of my mental well-being. I know
Yeah.
for some people, if you're laying down and like, watching TV, watching Netflix, or just resting, that's like, you're taking care of yourself, you're resting. And I was actually doing that whenever I started working, whenever I was just feeling, burnt out, I was brain dead, I would just, put on a Netflix show and, just relax. But then I was actually feeling more burnt out and more tired from doing that. And I learned that for me, what works best for me is like active self-care or like productive self-care. And that's when I started, also working out just from my home or also biking outside, and also taking my dog for a walk. I found that that's something that actually helps me more. But I also enjoy my days when I'm just watching Netflix. But that's something that I learned from, the pandemic as well. Just finding different ways to where I can actually do self-care that, brings me back energy and refuels me for the next day as well.
So
I love
before we
that.
continue, I do want to take a pause and acknowledge what's going on in Palestine. We have had a lot of comments, and I don't want our viewers to think that we are not listening. I think that we all care about what's going on, and we hope to do more. I don't know if you're doing that already. If you, I mean, Lillian, Eva, and Priscilla, if there are initiatives that we can participate or that you want to bring light to. But in my humble opinion, I'm very sad about what's going on. It's very controversial. It's not right, and it definitely. I wish I can do something more and more. I don't know, like, and if there are any ways, please bring it to our attention.
Yeah.
We'll ping it here, but yeah, do you, Lillian? I mean, it's really sad what's going on there. I've seen the videos, and I think somebody posted here that Palestinians are not allowed to get like COVID vaccine. I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds pretty awful.
Yeah.
Just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, no, we're definitely praying for the families as well, and really praying for peace overall, because nobody wants to be in that situation. So yeah, I completely get what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
No, it's fine.
Unless Eva, Priscilla, you have something to say.
No, yeah, I was also going to say the same thing, that it's just really important to bring awareness to, what's going on around the world, not just here, in your bubble, that there's other people that are also going through really hard times, and that it's not only important to like bring awareness, but also post like what you can do, what actions you can do, if it's like donating or signing a petition or just resharing a post, that can help as well.
Yeah.
And same, I have a lot of Palestinian friends and I feel for them. I can't imagine that happening to my own home country. And as far as resources, from what I've seen from their personal pages, is if you repost so that you can share light on what's happening is the biggest thing you can do. Like Eva said, awareness is key in this situation. And I will look into more things and post them on my page so that I could kind of navigate you guys to see if there's any other resources there is that we can try to help, because what is happening is absolutely horrible, and I'm happy that people brought it up and that we're actually taking a little time to discuss it, because awareness is key.
You know that our taxes are paying for that war?
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Education could be free with that amount of money. People could not be dying. Anyway, so sorry, I just wanted to make awareness of that, because yeah, it's so sad. Okay, Lillian, I'll let you continue. And yes, you're killing it. I see comments that you're doing amazing, and I'm just here like listening. I'm like,
listen. I just wanted to pivot a little away from the mental health discussion, just to get to know our guests a bit more. So I wanted to find out, like, during your time in school, and I know, Priscilla, you said you're still in school, did you find, let me just ask overall, what has been your experience being a woman in STEM in your engineering journey, or what was for Eva?
I'm sorry, you were cutting off a bit. I think it's my internet. Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, so the question is, what has been your overall experience being a woman in STEM? And I think for Eva, you also mentioned you came in as an immigrant. That total experience, what has that been like for you in college? Yes.
Yeah. Well, in college, so again, I majored in computer science, and being a woman and a woman of color going through this degree path, I didn't see a lot of other women that were going through, the same courses that I was taking, or other women that, you know, looked like me that I could go up to and ask questions, ask for advice. There were a few of us, but you know, like, hey, yeah,
Is
growing
she
up,
me
I've
or she's
never.
breaking?
No, she's breaking.
I
Yeah.
think she could
Okay.
not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
It's okay. We can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, sorry, I think my internet's cutting out. But it just had to, you know, I also thought back when I was growing up that I never really saw a woman in STEM in TV shows or in movies. And, you know, that's also something that kind of fueled me to continue going through towards that computer science degree, that, you know, I couldn't give up, because, you know, I'm also not only doing it for myself, because it's also something that I'm very passionate about, solving problems, but also that if I give up on myself, I'm also giving up, you know, on the next girl or the next woman that also wants to pursue this STEM degree. But overall, my experience was, I think, more positive. You know, there's always going to be, I I kind of want to not say there's always going to be, but there's most likely going to be a moment whenever you're a woman in STEM or a woman in a male dominated field that you're going to come across those stereotypes. But as long as you have the support system of other women or allies, that's something that's also going to help you. So
Yeah.
that's something that I also went through during my college days. But for the most part, it was really positive. I, you know, met a lot of other women also over social media that are in STEM, and it's also thanks to the pandemic. But overall, positive experiences.
And that is
I
why
love
we're
that.
doing this. That's amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to add to that. That is why we are having this show, because we know the lack of representation, except for Miss Universe, because I was like, all of them are engineers.
No, that
So
was
many engineers.
amazing. That was
But yeah, so that's why we wanted to start this show. And I again, thank you, Eduardo, for the page. But yeah, like with Papaya, I said, like, this is a platform that's gonna make it accessible for all minorities. You know, we wanna represent, and the way that it's accessible is by you feeling welcome. So by us doing this show, we're making STEM accessible to all women. We're saying here, like, you're welcome here, you belong here, you know, and that's what we want to tell everybody. And on that school note, I wanted to ask you, Eva, this is the papaya time. What was your hardest time or hardest class in school?
My hardest class was theory of computation. Hands down, that was my hardest class. And we actually didn't have any tutors for that class. We didn't have that many tutors at my university for that class, so I kind
Yeah.
of had to, you know, resort to YouTube, my classmates, to, you know, kind of get a hand of the material. I had to kind of do every single question at the back, at the end of the chapter for the textbook, just kept on practicing. And that's something that helped me a lot. Because I was actually a tutor at my university. I was a computer science and math tutor, but we didn't have that many tutors. So I didn't have a lot of people that I could go to for theory of computation. But that was one of my hardest classes. But I ended up with an A, so.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
struggle, but yeah.
That's amazing. No, I mean, props to you. That I understand that I had to do that for thermal because I was really cheap, and I was like, no, cannot spend money on tutors, especially because it's 35, you know.
Yeah.
But I got to Java, and my engineering classes were kind of like, I mean, I was able to figure it out. So I thought like, oh, I can read some classes and I'll be fine with Java. No, it's a total different thing. So I was like, oh, you don't need physics or math here. So that's where I started doing tutoring, and that's how I came out with Papaya. But yeah, like yesterday we had our first machine learning class. So that was pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah, and the
I
student
love
was
that.
somebody you know, is a PhD student at Yale. So
Oh,
and she
okay.
had an amazing experience. So yeah. So
Oh,
what?
And
Yeah.
I think Eva mentioned something about you mentioned something about social media as well. And it just kind of like reminded me of like STEMedia and what they're doing with like trying to bridge the gap between STEM and media. And like for me, I've seen a lot of growth on my STEM journey, just like integrating the social media like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook with that. And I think just being able to, share STEM on a larger platform, like, places where you usually wouldn't see STEM, like, movies or podcasts or all these things, like, that's the importance of, like, us trying to bridge the gap between regular media and then like including STEM in there. So I just wanted to give a shout out to STEMedia for that. Yeah.
And they're perfect for like confidence or public speaking. I think you can go
Oh
on their
yeah.
website. You have some tips, and I mean, there's so many jokes about engineers not being able to communicate. I know that I never took my English classes serious until I got to consulting. I was like, oh God, no, I'm paying for everything. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
perfect resource to go there and help yourself. So, and now I get to ask Priscilla, what was your hardest class?
My hardest class was Thermo 2. I felt like it was killing me at every single second. It was so difficult. I came in so confident because I did fairly well for Thermo 1, and I was like, oh, I don't know why people complain for Thermo. It's so easy. Like, I can totally do this. And then I went in on Thermo 2, and I was just like, wait, like, there's just too much being thrown at me. I was like, ah. And during that semester, there actually was no tutor for Thermo 2. And at that time, I had no idea exactly of papaya tutoring, which I wish. It was just like, So everyone, if you have difficulty with Thermo, go to Papaya Tutor because it's so helpful.
Yeah,
and organic chemistry because I hated it.
Yeah, we need to add organic chemistry.
We do.
I wrote it down, but I threw away the post-it. I need to add that. But we actually just added machine learning. We didn't even know we had that person.
Yeah.
But you know what? Something that reminded me of papaya real quick, Priscilla. You know that feeling where you're like, I got it, I got this. That's actually what papaya means, and that's what we call it papaya. Is so we can still in our tutors that it's their job to make you feel confident. You know how you go to tutoring centers here, and I felt like I was dumb. They like look down on me, like, oh, you didn't know, oh, you don't know this, and I'm like, no, that's why I'm coming here. But papaya, our tutors are supposed to, and they do make anything that's complex. They break it down in a digestible way. So if they cannot teach it simply, they cannot teach a papaya. So yeah, every time you leave a class, you have to feel like that. You have to be like, oh, I got that. That's papaya. So
that's so clever. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Lillian, I'm done. I'm sorry for
No, you're fine. I think we're like literally at the end of our chat, and I just wanted to end with just one question. And this is for everyone, if you could go into the future and figure something out and bring it back to the present, STEM related, what would you do? It could be cures, it could be anything. What would you do?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna have to say if I could just pause like time.
Yeah,
like if I can
and then go into the future and then come back.
And just like as time is going, just pause it and you be there, just like kind of observing everything. Because I feel like life happens so quick that you don't even. There's times where unfortunately you just don't get to sit and just like see everything, observe everything, be present. And like that's big for mental health, like just being present. So if there was like a little remote control, you can just pause and just kind of be like, okay, I'm not losing time here, and I can just sit here and just take it all in. That would be what I would.
You would do that? Okay.
I would do that.
Awesome. What about you, Eva?
I think for me, if I could go forward in time, I would probably try to get the knowledge. I mean, hopefully in the future, we're already moved towards more renewable energy, and then like bring it back. So bring it back so that we could start sooner. Because I feel like, I know that's also something that a lot of people struggle with, especially in a lot of other countries, that we're not necessarily taking care of our planet, and like we only have one planet. And I know we're trying to become a multi-planetary species, but that's going to take years. So we still need to take care of the one planet that we have. So I think that's one of the things that I would really want to push to kind of get more momentum right now, like in 2021, to start moving more towards renewable energy and like start taking more action, more aggressive action. So that's the knowledge that I want to bring back.
That's
I
a
love
great
that.
one.
I love that.
I changed my answer.
Sandra, do you have anything?
No, yours was a good one, Priscila.
Sandra, do you have one for us?
I mean, I wish I could go forward
Forward.
and then go back too, because forward I will get the vaccine and then
Thank you, and you saved us a whole year.
yeah, COVID.
I love that. I love that. I
I'm just
love
totally
that.
kidding. I think it has to be something with renewable. I mean, just sustainability, and
Yeah.
because I am very into saving the ocean now, it has to be something like with fishing or just like sustainable ways to eat and maintain protein. So right
Yeah.
now, like and transparency in our government, really, like a way to have
Yeah.
everything be so transparent. I mean, I think that people wouldn't care about paying taxes if it was transparent. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you, guys.
Thank
So as we head out, I just want you guys to give us your biggest takeaway from your personal experience with burnout, mental health, and one thing that you wish you could do if you could go back to college, like your first year in college. Make sense? Okay, good.
totally.
Yes.
Sorry, guys, this is my first time.
No,
Killing
you're
it,
good.
killing it.
So if I could go back in time and go back to when I was in college, I think I would tell myself this. Okay, so this piece of advice is something that I really love whenever people tell you when you're starting off, oh, say yes to everything, say yes to every opportunity that comes your way, because that's how you're going to learn and grow. Whenever I was in college, I was actually doing that. I was saying yes to everything, and my plate was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that was just making me feel more burnt out. So what I would have told myself in my college days is that yes, say yes to those opportunities that interest you. But also you have the luxury to be a little selective. You don't have to pile up so much that you can't give your best work to those opportunities and, actually learn and grow from them. So I would say to, say yes to those opportunities, but also take it with a grain of salt and be selective with, what you actually want to put your effort to.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that.
That's a good one.
I know, she just calmed me down
I
with
know.
that.
I was just like, can we do the math? I
I
think
think
my
you're
biggest.
asking. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think my biggest one is, especially there's always those classes that you encounter that are supposed to like steer people away from STEM. So my biggest thing that I always tell everyone that's like a freshman or sophomore or whatever, just starting off in their STEM careers, don't give up. And remember why you even got into STEM to begin with. Because there's definitely going to be times where, you fall and maybe you fail a class or you fail a test or whatever, or you have a lot of personal things going on. It's just a rough semester. But as long as you just keep on pushing forward and you just don't give up, that's like the best thing you can do. I mean, it took me years to finally be able to graduate, but I did it. And like, it was just such a like I did it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us today. And this was my first session, and I enjoyed it. And thank you, Papaya Tutor and Engineering Memes Guy and STEMedia for having me and for creating Women in STEM Wednesdays. I hope you guys learned a bit about our guests and STEM overall and burnout. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Oh, and wait, did you guys drop your handles?
Oh, yeah.
Before we follow you?
Sorry, I posted both of you.
Okay,
Wait.
thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
Eva twice. I see how it is.
Oh, mine went through, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you got it. Okay. Okay, perfect.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome.
So if these ladies offer you free mentorship, sometimes you can just reach out to them. So it's amazing to have a community of amazing women that can support you. And if you're a guy, you can also reach out. We don't discriminate. So yeah, just for serious questions though.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. And
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night, and don't be burnt out.
Yeah.
Yes, take care of your mental health.
That's key.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.